Shabbat Shalom to all of you. I am so glad to be back from Argentina. That was a really delight for me to be and to share with my friends and people that are very like us here in Montreal, Canada. Rabbi Joseph Shemi did an excellent job and he was a wonderful host. And I really enjoyed my time there. I was able to share many things that you already have heard from me, by the way. Putting maybe sometimes wrapping in different package, but the content was very similar. And I think if when you hear, you're going to see, I already knew that, or this, but this is you say this in a different way. I like it. The parasha this week, continuing last week, Hayei Sarah. And Sarah lived, and I talked about continuity, because that was the idea of continuity. This is also this parasha, I call it the parasha link between our three fathers or patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This parasha holds the three. And who is in the middle? Yitzhak, Avinu, no? Isaac. Isaac, among all the three patriarchs, was the little well-known. He didn't too much, supposedly, even though maybe he was big. He had only one wife. He was very boring, okay? He didn't leave the land of Eretz Israel, you know. He was born in one town. He moved only 30 kilometers to the other. That was the longest way that he went, you know. He was totally around in his area. Can you imagine lived all his life? He lived to 180 years. That what it means is not only a full life, you know, a full life. That's what I mean. Interesting enough, he was married at 40, you know. At the age of 60, he had his children. That means his twins. And that's all that he had. After that was basically being there. Then suddenly we learn about that he became old and he was blind, and the children were fighting for the blessing. And you know, for the brachot, the blessings. And it's interesting, the word brachot and behor or behorit, it is the same letters, only in different positions. And this is a play in this parasha. In this parasha there are, by the way, many interesting ideas that will come out, especially about the Messiah, and you can see there in different ways. But also, what is interesting is about the little idea that I want to give you through, for example, gematria. Abraham Avinu was 140 when Isaac was married. He was 160, okay, when their twins were born. Now, 140 is a multiple of 7. And that means that is the first covenant, or now he filled his life, he finished his time. And then at the age of 160, now he finally has descendants through Isaac. What is 160? It's not 8 by 2. So 8, what it means? A new covenant, a new breed. That means it's going to be a new process. Interesting, but you see the ages, and you're going to see how meaningful is these little details that we have. Another point I want to share with you. You know, I told you before that as a rabbi, I speak in circles, more like a spiral. You know, go around and around. And sometimes I lose you in one place, And then when I come back, I pick you up again, or you pick me up, and we keep going up, you know? And the Torah is like that. The Hebrew thinking is in that way. Then, when you are accustomed only to read books from A to B to C to D, you know, and this is the Western civilization mentality, you know, the Greek mentality, the rationalistic mentality. No, sometimes doesn't make too much sense, and you are constantly asking for definition. Define this. You know, our Creator never defines anything. Why he doesn't define? Because in the definition, once you define something, you got stuck with the definition. Sometimes it's such a hard time to understand what it really means in the name. What it really means, you know, the tetragrammaton. Things like that. What? Because they were not defined. You know, this is who he is, and period. Now, who he is depending who he is for you, who he is for him, who he is for anybody else. Because each one of us has a relationship with him, blessed be his name. Then, don't you realize that sometimes we as human beings, we have this singular problem. We want that everyone understand everything according to the way that we understand. Put it in another way. Many of us, we think that we understand, everybody understands the same way. Then, for that reason, when I talk to you, you immediately understand what I am telling you. You know? And sometimes when I speak in the same language, but in totally different way. And even among us ourselves, we need to translate words. You know, I talked to you prior to this about semantics, how one word means something for somebody else, and one word means something to me. You know, for example, how many times I have been talking about the word religion, and I have been giving you this slogan: yes to God, no to religion. My friend told me this time, you know, when you say yes to God and not to religion, there are many people that they think it is the same. Okay? The great majority think religion and God are together. And others, they think God, they ask you, which God? You know, that's the other, no? And say, what, my religion or your religion? You know, then looks like I've been talking and looks like I cannot be giving anything new. For me, it's clear, but I'm not necessarily it's clear for everyone. Then I go back to the idea, and I say, religion to me means a man-made rules and regulations to try to reach God or to appease a God or a super being, supernatural being, you know? And that is all man-made. To me, religion is man-made, okay? And to believe in God or to have a relationship with God means to go directly to Him. Now, you're going to see in this short parasha with the link about the three fathers, the constant participation of God with our forefathers, talking to them and telling them what to do. You know, even Rivka, that supposedly didn't come from the true religion, she immediately got into the religion of her husband, Isaac, and when she got pregnant, you know, finally she went to ask God, which God? There is only one, you know? And they said the tetragrammaton. He went to ask him about what was going on. Then, I talked about revelation, divine revelation. And a divine revelation can be started through you. When I say through you, it's in the way, when you inquire, you ask questions, and you ask God in your prayer time, in your time of meditation, whatever you want to call it. You have a time to talk to Him. And you will be, I hope, not so surprised. But He's always ready to answer to you. He gives you the answers. He won't tell you, jump over this bridge and go to or leave everything. You know, He's going to give you things that are in His Word, and you're going to be able to follow, to clarify. Well, we are in the transition between Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in this parasha. Isaac basically was a kind of, like I said to you, a boring patriarch. Very simple. He didn't do too much. He was no a great hunter, or he was no a conqueror, but God blessed him in everything that he did. And he was a shy and timid person, for what I can read, because when there is a famine in the area that he lives, he is ready to go to Egypt, like everybody, you know. The pictures are repeated. The scriptures, I like it this way. You know, they show you one picture, and those pictures are repeated over and over again to give us a sign, to give us an idea of what is going to happen. You know, you're going to see the developing of this, for example, rivalry among brothers, no siblings. You have, for example, Abel and Cain. You know, beginning. Then you have another one. You have a little bit very simple Noah with the children, but it's not clear there. Then after that, you're going to have here with Esau and Jacob. After that, you're going to have, this is going to continue, you know, among the siblings. They're going to come two, and one is going to be chosen. Not that before Abraham, Isaac and Abraham, I'm sorry, I forgot, very important, Ishmael and Isaac, you know, that already comes a problem. Then Isaac has two children. What is interesting here? Abraham, in certain ways, was concerned about Ishmael. And he didn't want to get rid of Ishmael. And he was not going to do it. Even the Sarah was, hey, we need to get rid of him, we need to get rid of him. You know, when a woman is like that, what you do? You know, you kill the woman, or you do what she tells you to do. You know? But thanks that two are created, that he said to Abraham, follow what Sarah is telling you. I'm going to take care also of Ishmael, don't worry. You know? Okay. He got rid of Ishmael, and now he needs to get rid of Ishmael, and then the last that is asked for him is to sacrifice his own son. The people that don't say sacrifice, they say the Akedah, the binding, you know, but that was literally, he was asking to kill his son, you know. This is a portion that Abraham went through a lot. Then immediately after one, look, Isaac was not a baby like many people want to talk about in the Akedah. You know, there are midrashim that they say that he was 37 years old. You know, just at the time that Sarah dies. Okay? He was 37 years old. And it's interesting that it is well known that Yeshua, the Messiah, died at the age of 37. No? This is maybe coincidence, whatever you want to call it. Not like a Christian say 33 years old. Because even the calendar is wrong. But it's okay. No, but let's go to the next step. Already, Isaac has shown a lot of obedience. You know, he was obedient even to death. No, he knew, he picked up the wood for the mizbeach, for the altar. Now, he couldn't be a 6 years old carry on this piece of wood. You know, he needed to be a big one. He was enormous. Then, secondly, how Abraham was able to tie him. You know, he didn't allow that. That tells you how obedient he was. Many of us, we talk about the faith of Abraham, but we forget about what Isaac really did. And because of that, then comes the next step, that he undo himself completely. And this is what the Torah is so wonderful. Because he shows our heroes in the highest and in the lowest. Never ever play the trumpet to everyone to tell you, look, our heroes are superheroes. No, he shows us the real that they are. You know, this is the reason sometimes we are Messiah Yeshua. You know, he has been put in such a pedestal by the Christian religion that he put so high that it has taken away all his humanity, all that he went through, and all the things that he did. You know, he was a regular human being. He has all the problems that any other human being had. The difference was that he overcame. That's what to admire him even more. But not to play down that he was not the human, that he went through all this. He needed to go through a lot. He lost his temper. He got upset. And yet, believe me or not, this is not a sacrilege, but certain religion would be. But he liked women. There was nothing wrong with that. It's only in the mind of the others that was wrong. You see, this is all things to put it in perspective, because Isaac, after that moment, he has been very obedient and helpful. And then, after 20 years of being married to Rivka, and by the way, the Midrashim, they say that Rivka, when she married, Rivka was 3 years old. Please don't believe that. You know, and he needed to wait 20 years more than that she would be at least, you know, a young lady to have a relationship with her. She didn't have children because for 20 years he didn't touch her. You know, this, from one side you have the rabbi, from the other side you have the theologian, and each one they make you a mess in your head, and you don't know how to understand and how to believe it. And you need to go to what the Torah, to the scripture teacher. Then, for 20 years, can you imagine how Rivka was? I came here from so far away, and Rivka, by the way, is a very important lady. That tells you that she was her own. And believe me or not, Isaac was a mama's baby, you know, and he becomes a wife's baby. Okay? The only thing that he changed was mothers. From Sarah went to Rivka. Okay? How many men I know that they're, oh, I better not talk about that. Well, let's keep going. And then, what we go to this is that basically, he said, you know, I need to pray or I need to ask. And this is so beautiful. He prays to God and said, Rivka cannot have babies. But God said, okay. It's like God is saying, I was waiting for you. What's wrong with you? When I was reading that, I asked myself, maybe God is waiting for me in my cry, because I have been crying, but maybe I have been crying to the wrong place. You know, I need to cry to him. You know? Okay? Don't laugh about me. Even the babies, and the babies are the joy of God. And then comes the next thing that's important. Immediately she got pregnant. Immediately. Maybe she forgot what he needed to do, but she got pregnant. No? And when she got pregnant, that pregnancy was terrible. Ladies, I take my kippah on all of you, because as a man I have learned a long time ago, what do you go through? Now that we have two beautiful new babies here, and the mothers, they need to go through all of that. I really have a great respect about motherhood. By the way, I was watching on TV, in a special, in China, you know, because of the fathers have lost any empathy to the mothers about giving birth, you know, they have invented a machine, okay, that is 2 electrodes that they put in their stomach, okay, and they send electrical impulses that mimic the contractions of the wife, and then the person that has hormone is 4 times. After 4 times, he says, "Take it away." They cry, the tears in their eyes. They cannot take more the pain, and the women go through days with that. Can you imagine? Women are masochists. I don't know. This is another thing. I need to talk later about that. But well, finally, Rivka asked God. You know, she already saw that her husband could talk to God. We pray together, asking for her to be pregnant. Now, she go herself. Women are amazing to me. You know, they have the capability and that spirituality that we as men sometimes we are very limited. And she went directly. She didn't ask, "Oh, Isaac, I can talk to your God? Give me a break. I can go by myself." You know, I like those type of women, that they can take it and can do it on their own. And she went and asked, and God told her and gave it a prophecy. The problem is, in my humble understanding, that she totally misunderstood the prophecy. She was talking, for her was for today, you know, for Jacob and Esau. But really, the prophecy was about the people that were going to come out from Jacob and Esau. That was later on. But anyway, to make you the story continue here, we jump very quickly. We say that we describe Esau as a very strong man of the field, a hunter, a warrior, a bloodthirsty person. You know his name. Well, he has 3 names, by the way: Edom, Seir, and Esau. Edom, the blood red; Seir, the very hairy person; and Esau. Most of the linguist people say what Esau means. You know, where the word comes the word. And come from the word well done. You know, that is done or said. You know, well done. That means that when he was born with beard, with mustache, and all those things. He couldn't even talk. You know, that was like me. You know, that's it already. You know, and that was well done. Well, and you're going to see the name of Jacob, how it's displayed by his own father after he deceived him. But here, they tell you that what he was, and Isaac really loved him because he was a mero man. Isaac was Mexican, macho man, you know, totally macho. And a Viking, you know, a red one. But then, my dear Jacob was a mama's baby. Oh, you know, he would stay on the tent and he sit down there all the day and he was cooking and sewing, you know. Well, really he was most of the say that he was a shepherd, and the shepherd usually are in tents, you know. Not that he was the other side. No. He was straight, but he was not the one that imposed his character. He was totally a very what do you call it? Laid back. Very laid back. Now the other was taking care of everything, going, and then he came back. Isa, you have heard all this news and you have read it many times, but here what is interesting, he really started making a lot of noise about that he was starving to death, he was going to die. And you don't give me a little bit. And what he's showing his character is, he wanted everything yesterday. That's what it's telling you. You know, he couldn't wait. Then, the other, Jacob, it's very obvious that he knew that Esau was not going to be a good representative for the calling of God to become a great nation. No? And he wanted that from inside, from the beginning. That was his calling, if we can say. But he couldn't have that calling. And then he said, sell me your birthright. I said, my birthright? Who cares? Take it, give me it. And he said that he gulped the food. That word gulping is only used in the Torah to say the animals ate. That he ate like an animal, you know? And then after he finished, he didn't even care about his birthright. I mean, he didn't care. For him, he was happy man, killing and going out on the field. Then Rivka, knowing all of that, another woman, Sarah, Rivka. Anytime that the woman get into, they make it worse. Okay? I'm sorry, ladies, but you can be too spiritual, but too much. You know? Look at what she got. Almost killed two sons, one in enmity with the other, they wanted to kill each other. You know why I say all of this? Because even they talk about the blessings, and you read very carefully the blessing, and I recommend you, I don't have time to talk about the blessing because of the time that has gone through, but this is what is important. Isaac, at that time that he was blind, he was not stupid. Okay? And he already has a hint that this, like here was something not totally good. And if you read the blessing that he gives to Esau, but really is Jacob of the birthright, it's a very, very general blessing. It's not the specific blessing that Abraham gave it to Isaac. It's a very general blessing, and the only thing that he said is that the other one is going to serve him. You know? But to me it has an inkling that he really suspected two things. Or he was not Esau, that was Jacob to the one, and secondly, he was very reluctant to give it a blessing for the whole continuity of the becoming Israel to Esau, because he felt from the beginning that Esau didn't have what it takes. In the Torah, they give you too many possibilities, you know. And when we reconstruct the story, we see that the blessing was a very general blessing, but it was clear. And then when Esau arrives and prepares the plate and from the game and says, well, Father, give me the blessing now. And he said, uh-oh, I already gave him. Give it to me. I'm sorry, I cannot give it. I already gave it. And in a certain way, he was almost pleased. Because in that blessing, what he did was he gave the blessing of the birthright, firstborn, no? But nothing else. Because the second one was going to serve him. Because when finally he cried out and said, please, Daddy, give me again. You know, I tried to do my best. Okay. He gave it almost a similar blessing that gave it to the first time. But at the end, instead to say that you are going to be served by the youngest, he said, you are going to serve the other. Read it carefully and you're going to see it there. Because then in chapter 28, once he gets very upset, and by the way, in the Hebrew, it's such a beautiful play of words, especially in the chapter in 27:6 about the playing of the words brachot and bechorot. Okay, brachot means the blessings. Bechorot means the firstborn of birthright. Okay, and he plays with those two words because they are these the same letters, but I changed the sequence of the letters. Now, going back to chapter 28, and we're trying to finish there. The blessing comes to Jacob, and this time the blessing is a complete blessing. It's the blessing that he received from his father Abraham, that Abraham received it from God, and God gave it to Abraham, and Abraham gave it to Isaac, and Isaac now is passing the same blessing to Jacob. And in that blessing, basically, he said that he wants to be a number like the stars and things, and his seed is going to be over, and they're going to be a blessing, and they're going to be a nation of blessing. You know, and they're going to come back to the land. That is very important. This is the first time that they say, come back to the land. Now, Jacob literally flee from his brother. You know, they say, with his clothes on, and that's all that he could take, and he runs away. We are going to see in the next parasha, by it said that he left, we're going to see all the things that he goes through. And you're going to see that his little lie cost him a lot. Why are you going to see this? God doesn't need your help. God knew from the beginning that Jacob was going to be the one that was going to lead the Jewish nation. But you have a mother who loved her son, and she realized that she had a prophecy that she understood, that she needed to put together. The question is why she didn't share that with Isaac. You know, she didn't trust Isaac, or Isaac was so blind. He was blind at that time, but I was so blind spiritually speaking that he couldn't see that his son Esau was not the right one to receive this blessing. I think Isaac knew from the beginning, because at the end when he gives the blessing, what he said is, go to the land of your mother's relatives, to her brother, and marry one of his daughters, because I do not want that you marry any Canaanite. Why? Because Esau had already, before the blessings, by the way, in chapter 26, before the blessings, already we have a hint, because Esau got two wives that were Canaanites, you know? And finally, when he realized that because he had a Canaanite wife and Rivka didn't like that, what he does? He goes to Ishmael, very close to the other side. His father was not going to have any problem, because Ishmael children from Ishmael descendants, they were also children from Abraham, same line, and they were not Canaanites, and maybe he was going to be in better situation with his father, Isaac. But Esau, what he did was too late, and the only thing that he cared was about to receive the blessing, that when they gave a half blessing, and we know what happened to Edom or Seir, and we know the problem that we have to the time. Only as matter of Midrash, to give you a little bit more information about this, was at the time of Yeshua that already started developing this idea that Edom were the Romans. And then when the Catholic Church became very strong, the rabbis called all the Christians Edomites. Interesting enough, only as matter of a comparison or making look at one or the other to understand, they look Christianity and Judaism as twins. No? One is Jacob and the other is Esau. Esau represents Christianity, bloody, very without principle and destroying everything that they can, because that's how they suffer with the Roman Empire, you know, and they saw that they didn't care about human life, you know. When today everybody say the Judeo-Christian ethics, sometimes we forget about what the Christian church did at the beginning of their history to the Middle Ages, you know, and they have forgotten about the Holy Inquisition, and they have forgotten about all the killings of the old, because the Catholic Church killed equally their own and the Jews and the Muslims. Whatever they needed to kill, they will kill. You know, sometimes we look at today ISIS, and we look at today to the terrorists, the Islamic terrorism that the Jewish people are suffering. And just this last week, when we saw that in Jerusalem, when these two brothers, or cousins, I'm sorry, came into the synagogue and they start with the machete or the knives, misbelievers, they will start cutting everybody and they kill 5 of the people. Inside of a place of worship, that tells you about the level of brutality of these people. And they love blood. Now, if they love blood, they will be the true Edomites, you know. But this is the idea that comes to mind for today. Then, our Messiah Yeshua is the one that is going to bring us back together, because that's what it was, the function of him. Interestingly enough about Yeshua, our Messiah, he came to his own. He spoke only to his own. You know, there is a portion in the Messianic writing, he said, he came to his own did not receive him. That's not true. Okay, that is a statement that the Judaism has chosen to keep it for them. They say, we the Jews never accepted Jesus the Messiah. That's not true. They need to read the scriptures again, especially the Messianic writings. If you consider scriptures or not, read the portion that say when Yeshua came into Jerusalem the last week for Pesach, and they received him, and they say, Hoshana, Hoshana, you know, Ben David, Hoshana, Hoshana, Baruch Hu Haba Hashem Adonai. Blessed he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hoshana, Hoshana, save us, Ben David, son of David, or Ben David Hamelech, you know, Ben David, Hamelech Ben David, save us, Hoshana, Hoshana. The people of Jerusalem, the people in Israel, they already had him that he was the Messiah. What happened is, as many of us we know, the Israel ran a little bit doubtfully after he was killed, because they were expecting Mashiach ben David, and the one that came was Mashiach ben Yosef, the suffering Messiah, because they needed to first of all bring us together to Torah back again, in order that the Torah could be given to the world. And in certain ways, the Torah was given to the rest of the world. The problem is that the other people who receive it, they didn't know how to appreciate it. the beautiful message. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.